we should grow the economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down.
Getting rid of Roe v. Wade was an incredible thing. I was able to do it, and I was very honored to do it.
The past 2 years, we've created a record 12.7 million new jobs.
January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day.
The price of insulin went from $400, $500, $600 a month down to $35 a month. It saved the government $160 billion.
It was a rigged election. We had a rigged election. I thought it was a rigged election. The election was rigged.
Yeah. Here's a funny thing, Matt. There's this president, his name is Biden, and like other presidents of his party actually like him and want to be seen with him and raise him money. It's really, it's this strange thing for a guy named Donald Trump, who the president from 2000, who is Republican, George Bush, will not endorse him. The vice president from 2000, Dick Cheney, hates him for what he's done with his daughter, among other things. We'll skip for a second over crazy Sarah Palin. She may be the only one who's a national nominee, vice presidential nominee from 2008, Republican. I think she supports Trump. McCain isn't with us anymore. Romney, 2012 presidential nominee, doesn't support Trump. Paul Ryan, vice presidential nominee from 2012, doesn't support Trump. And Mike Pence, his own vice president from 2016 to 20.
It should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year.
So literally, this guy, the last 25 years of Republican politics, there's one national figure who's been on a national ticket who has endorsed him.
Well,
that should tell you something if you're a Republican.
And the way that the media swept the Pence thing, I mean, his former vice president will not endorse him. And as a matter of fact, a good chunk of his old cabinet has basically
Esper, his defense secretary, said he's a danger to the country.
It's amazing to me that, you know, they once again, they're still trying to find fractures on the left. And here is all this out in the open, and the way it just kind of gets downplayed that, you know, in any other time, the former vice president of the United States saying, I'm not going to vote, or I'm not going to endorse, rather, the guy I ran with is a major story.
Defense secretary, 2 national security advisors, his communications director. I mean, it goes on and on. And they don't just say they won't support him in most cases. That's what Pence said. And Pence said he asked him to do something that was against the Constitution, which was a bold statement for, you know, how boring Pence is. But every other person that I named there has actually referred to him as a threat to our country and said that that's how seriously we should not support him. And by the way, it's 2 defense secretaries. I forgot, Mattis and Esper.
Yep.
So
that's right. And Maddox definitely doesn't want anything to do with him.
I mean, he doesn't even lead in a poll of people who worked for him. His own former vice president said, I cannot in good conscience endorse Donald Trump. Here's what you should be paying attention to. His longtime former lawyer, Michael Cohen, says Donald's an idiot. His former defense secretary, Mark Esper, said, I think he's unfit for office. His other former defense secretary said he's the first president in my lifetime who does not try to unite the American people. He tries to divide us.
So you brought up the big fundraiser, huge deal. Colbert hosted, the Smartless podcast was there. You have the 3 of them there. And once again, as you pointed out, W doesn't want anything to do with him. So what does Trump do? He crashes.
Seamus O'Toole, Bobby O'Shea. I'm ready to get drunk.
By the sounds of it, he kind of at last second announces, I'm going to show up at this wake for this police officer, and then hijacks the wake. You know, and the whole
thing
makes
it about himself.
Yeah, he has to show
up. As he does with everything.
Yeah, he has to show up in New York. There's going to be this big event, so he says, I've got to go there and I've got to do something. And he just disgusting as always. But God, is he such a weak, pathetic man?
He's just, did he take his 2 golf trophies with him from his club? Like, when I read that, I just was like, this may top everything. Yeah. I mean, if that's the kind of thing that and again, bullying is bad. That's the kind of thing when I was in school, you probably could have gotten beaten up for. I won the 2 trophies, even though we know he cheated. It's his own golf club. He sucks at golf.
That's 2 thus far, shooter.
Oh, you can count. Good for you.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
Like one of the Sports Illustrated guys wrote a whole book on how he cheats at golf.
Yeah,
it's just amazing that you could be that pathetic, self-loathing, such a loser of a human being, And yet all these people are willing to even contemplate supporting you. Such a little baby. So, I mean, not even getting into the 91 counts and the fact that our judges referred to him as a rapist and just the whole rest. It's like he's just this pathetic, emotional weakling, this little wimpy child who didn't get the chair, he didn't get the swing he wanted at the playground. So he's throwing a fit. I mean, he's just, so he goes to this thing, and of course, the right-wing media runs with, oh, well, Biden's raising money while Trump's doing that. It's like, well, first of all, Trump's raising money. It's just, much less, and it's all going to the fact that he's got judgments against him for hundreds of millions of dollars because he's a crook. But on top of all of that, he couldn't go to a gathering of presidents and vice presidents because none of them want to be in the same freaking room with him and hate him. So there's that on top of that. Oh, and then there's the part about the Capitol Hill police where over 140 of them, I believe, were stabbed, kicked, beaten, gouged. Any number of things happened. Numerous injuries. Brian Sicknick had 2 different strokes and died. A couple other members ended up committing suicide. Yeah, he sure loves those first responders. He loves them.
And hawking his Bible while he was there.